Welcome to the weird, wild, and often wacky world of history. Now, I know what you're thinking. History is all about boring dates, dusty textbooks, and memorizing names you can't even pronounce. But let me tell you, history is far from boring. In fact, it's full of surprises, strange practices, and mind-boggling moments that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. We're talking about the kind of history that they don't teach you in school, the kind that makes you laugh, cringe, and say, "Wait, what? Did you know that in ancient Rome it was common practice to use urine as a mouthwash?" Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently Romans believed that the ammonia in urine could whiten their teeth, and that's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends. So buckle up, get ready to have your minds blown, and let's dive into the fascinating world of weird historical facts. Let's kick things off with our friends, the Romans, known for their impressive aqueducts, gladiatorial combat, and apparently their questionable hygiene. Now, while the Romans did have some advanced sanitation practices for their time, like public baths and sewage systems, their dental care was, well, let's just say a little different. They believed that urine, yes, you heard that right, urine was the key to a dazzling smile. Apparently the ammonia in urine was thought to act as a natural bleaching agent. They even had different types of urine for mouthwash. Aged urine was considered the best, while Portuguese urine was highly prized for its supposed whitening properties. Hold on to your furry friends, folks, because we're going medieval. And by medieval, I mean a time when animals were held accountable for their actions, just like humans. You see, in medieval Europe, animals weren't just creatures, they were considered participants in society. And that meant being subject to the same laws as everyone else. We're talking full-blown trials, complete with lawyers, judges, and even witnesses. Animals accused of crimes, from pigs digging up gardens to insects destroying crops, were brought before the court. And the punishments? They were just as serious as those given to humans, ranging from imprisonment to, believe it or not, execution. Let's talk about Cleopatra, the last active ruler of ancient Egypt, known for her beauty, intelligence, and her dramatic love life. Now, when you think of Cleopatra, you probably picture pyramids and pharaohs, right? But here's a mind-blowing fact. Cleopatra lived closer to the moon landing than she did to the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's right, the Great Pyramid was already ancient history by the time Cleopatra came around. To put it into perspective, the Great Pyramid was completed around 2560 BC, while Cleopatra lived from 69 to 30 BC. The moon landing, on the other hand, took place in 1969 AD. The Victorian era, a time of elegance, propriety, and apparently a willingness to risk it all in the name of beauty. And by risk it all, I mean literally putting poison on your face. You see, in the 19th century, a pale complexion was all the rage. It was a sign of wealth and status, indicating a life free from toiling outdoors in the sun. So how did the Victorians achieve this coveted pallor? Well, they turned to arsenic, yes, the poison in the form of arsenic wafers. These wafers, when ingested, would slowly poison the user, resulting in a pale, translucent complexion. Let's talk about war, but not the kind that spans decades or involves massive armies. No, today we're discussing the shortest war in recorded history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War of 1896. This conflict between Great Britain and the Zanzibar Sultanate lasted a grand total of, wait for it, 38 minutes. You see, the Sultan of Zanzibar had recently died, and a successor, not exactly Britain's preferred candidate, took the throne. An ultimatum was issued, demanding the new Sultan stand down. He refused, and at precisely 9 a.m. on August 27, 1896, the British Navy opened fire. Time to talk teeth, but not your average trip to the dentist. No, we're going back to the 19th century, a time when dentures were a luxury, and the materials used to make them were, shall we say, a bit unconventional. You see, before porcelain dentures became widespread, people turned to a rather grim source for their pearly whites, the teeth of dead soldiers. That's right, teeth extracted from fallen soldiers, particularly after major battles like the Battle of Waterloo, became a hot commodity in the denture trade. These Waterloo teeth, as they were known, were prized for their quality and durability, providing a much-needed income for the poor and a rather unsettling fashion statement for the wealthy. Moldy miracle ancient Egyptian antibiotics. Let's travel back to ancient Egypt, a civilization known for its advancements in medicine, mathematics, and apparently moldy bread. You see, long before the discovery of penicillin, the ancient Egyptians were already utilizing the power of mold to treat infections. They wouldn't just eat any moldy bread, though. They were specifically interested in mold that grew on certain types of bread and would apply it directly to wounds and infections. While they didn't fully understand the science behind it, they recognized that this mold had healing properties. The pineapple prestige, a status symbol of the 18th century. Get ready to be surprised, because we're about to talk about pineapples, not as a delicious fruit, but as a status symbol of the 18th century. You see, in the 1700s, pineapples were incredibly rare and expensive in Europe. They were a symbol of wealth, luxury, and sophistication. Pineapples were so sought after that people would rent them for parties and special occasions just to show off their affluence. They would even use them as table centerpieces, allowing the pineapple to take center stage, often for days or even weeks, before they were finally eaten. Crocodile contraception, ancient Egyptian birth control. Let's delve into the ancient world's approach to family planning. And trust me, this one's a wild ride. We're talking about ancient Egypt and their rather, let's say, creative methods of contraception. Now, keep in mind that birth control in ancient times was a far cry from what we have today. One of the more unusual methods involved, believe it or not, crocodile dung. Yes, you heard that right. Ancient Egyptian women would mix crocodile dung with honey and natron, a naturally occurring salt, and use it as a pessary, a device inserted into the vagina. The man who ate everything, the insatiable appetite of Tarara. Prepare to be amazed and slightly grossed out as we discuss the bizarre case of Tarare, a man who lived in 18th century France and was known for his insatiable appetite. Tarare wasn't just a big eater, he had a seemingly bottomless stomach and an unusual craving for, well, everything. We're talking about a man who could eat his weight in food, consuming live animals, stones, corks, and even garbage, all without batting an eyelid. His condition baffled doctors and scientists of the time, and to this day the cause of his insatiable hunger remains a medical mystery. That's a wrap on Weird History. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the strange, surprising, and often downright bizarre side of history. From urine mouthwash to crocodile dung contraception, we've uncovered some truly weird and wonderful facts that prove history is anything but boring. It's a reminder that the past is full of surprises, and the more we dig, the more fascinating and often unbelievable stories we unearth. So the next time you think history is dull, remember those arsenic-eating Victorians, the pineapple-obsessed Georgians, and of course the ever-hungry Tarare. History is weird, it's wild, and it's waiting to be explored. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the weird side of the past. Until next time, keep those curiosity gears turning, and remember, the past is never truly past. It's just waiting to be rediscovered.